The college application season is in high gear, so we thought it would be good to bring in Lou Hirsch, admissions director at the University of Delaware. Lou, welcome to First.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, you spend a lot of time in high schools around this time speaking to parents and students about the admissions process. How many times would you say you've given that speech?
Oh my gosh. Over the course of my career, which goes back to 1975, my God, I think probably thousands over all that time. I've never even thought about that.
Do you have to think about what you're going to say, or is it just
well, it changes, and it changes with the audience. It changes with what I think people need to hear. It changes because I want to keep myself fresh. It gets a little tiring if you're saying the same thing session after session after session. So
what do you tell parents and students?
Well, I think what I try to do is give them something that I think will encourage them about the process. And by that I mean to talk, in part at least, about how admissions committees function and how genuinely interested we are in finding reasons to say yes to students. And I think it's important to emphasize that, because so much that people hear nowadays seems discouraging. Lots of talk about how tough it is to get into college, how tough it is to pay for college. And I think it helps to hear a little bit more clearly what a human process it is. We read at the University of Delaware every one of the 25,000 applications we receive. And we go into each read with a completely open mind. We're not fixed on just one or two numbers. We're not trying to look at only a GPA and a test score. We're trying to understand the person and trying to understand, is this the kind of person who would flourish at the University of Delaware?
Of those 25,000 applicants, can you break down, you know, how many are in-state, how many are out-of-state?
Well, of the 25,000, roughly 22,000, a little bit over 22,000 are from out-of-state. And the remaining 3,000 are from Delaware. And of course, that's a reflection of the fact that we live in this wonderful but amazingly small state. There are only about 50 high schools in the whole state. The rest of the applications come from every state in the union and from several dozen foreign countries. An awful lot of people really want to come to the University of Delaware.
Is it the curriculum, the campus, both?
It's a lot of things. Yes, it's the excellence of the curriculum. We have over 125 majors. Most people can find exactly what they're looking for on our campus. It's generally easier for us to tell people what majors we do not offer than the majors that we do. There's 75 academic minors on campus. But it's also the fact that it's a stunningly beautiful campus, and the people on it seem generally so welcoming. What strikes so many visitors is that the enthusiasm they feel from students, from faculty at the University of Delaware, from staff at the UD. It's genuine. I've said to people that when we use student tour guides, and we have a cadre of over 200 of them, you can train a student tour guide to dispense factual information about your university. What you can't train is enthusiasm. That's inward. That's genuine, or it doesn't exist. And what a lot of visitors see is that the people who go to UD, the students there, seem so genuinely excited by it and so eager to share what they're experiencing with our prospective students and parents. And that's golden for student recruitment.
Well, this is your last application process that you're going to be going through after 25 years with UD. You're going to retire. Are you looking forward to it? Are you nervous about it?
I'm not nervous. I'm looking forward to it. My wife's ecstatic. She's getting a little fed up with the fact that there are about 70-hour weeks during a good chunk of the year to do this job, and I myself am looking forward to spending more time with her and enjoying some other things. I'll still stay involved in some way. I'm active in our professional association, the Potomac and Chesapeake Association for College Admissions Counseling, and I have some great colleagues there, so I probably will continue to volunteer through that organization, and who knows what else, but whatever the what else is, if it's anything, it'll be on a part-time basis. I do plan to enjoy my retirement. And we're staying in Newark. My house is a block and a half from my office. A college town is a wonderful place to retire to. So my wife and I aren't moving anywhere. We're staying in Newark and staying in Delaware.
Well, how have the applicants changed in your 25 years? Because I almost feel like a lot of students kind of have this idea of what formula colleges are looking for. You need a little community service, you need after-school activities, some student government. Does that hit the mark?
It's what people think, and ironically, the most compelling essays we read are not from people who've tried to follow some formula. It's rather people who have sat themselves down and thought about not merely what they do, but why they do it, and most importantly, how it shaped them, how it's turned them into the kinds of human beings they are. And you know, I've said to people, some of the best jock essays I've read over the years have been from students who, by their own admission, are not terribly good athletes. They have no intention of playing varsity sports. We're a Division I school. They're not coming to Delaware for that, though they will make undoubtedly a great contribution to our excuse me, our intramural or our club sport program. But the thing that makes their essays compelling is that they write about why they're involved in sports in such a way that when you finish the essay, you understand why they get up at 5 in the morning to swim laps or run around a track or do whatever else that they need to do to advance themselves in their sport. And the love for the sport that comes out of this, and the sense of self-awareness. They've thought about why I do this, why it means something to me. That's fantastic in an admissions application. And there's no formula for that. It's simply people taking the time, 17-year-olds taking the time to think about themselves, think about who they are, and communicate that to an admissions committee.
You make me want to read these applications.
Yeah, they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. It's grueling. I mean, during the height of the reading season, we're working evenings, we're working weekends, we're pausing only to take the occasional phone call from an irate spouse or a significant other. But so by the end of it, we're all heartily pleased it's over with and the letters are in the mail. But the truth is, yes, we're privileged to see a piece of people's lives at what I think for most is this wonderful, wonderful moment. They're teetering between being a kid and being a grown-up. And in fact, I think for a lot of us who've gone to college, if you had to pick that one moment when we crossed the line from being a kid to a grown-up, it probably would be that moment when very iconically, we were dropped off at a college campus by our parents. They gave us that wonderful, iconic hug. They turned around, they left, and there we were, a college freshman enrolling at college for the first time. That's a priceless memory, and I think if you had to pinpoint when it is we effectively started our adulthoods, for a lot of us, that would be the moment. And to be in college admissions is to be privileged to play a part in bringing that moment about.
You know, we hear about college tuitions going up incrementally every year. Do you think it's getting to the point where college is just going to be too expensive for people to attend?
Well, I think there are enough forces to counter that I think there will be more financial sanity in this, to be quite honest with you, because it's too important. The United States is falling behind the rest of the developed world simply in producing college-educated people. It's clear for the 21st century those skills are needed. We have no choice but to make college affordable, and some of the burden for that absolutely falls on colleges and universities. Some of it falls on others to make it happen. But yes, that's a problem that worries me, and worries me a lot because I've seen costs start to soar. We try to do well at the University of Delaware. As you know, we have a UD commitment to Delawareans. So we're committed to making Delaware affordable for Delaware residents, and I think we've gotten a good degree of success in that. We even put caps on the total amount of loan indebtedness that a student can graduate from when they're a Delaware resident attending the University of Delaware. I think that's a wonderful thing, and that was one of President Harker's initiatives, and I think it's done very well by the people of this state. And I'm proud of it.
Lou Hirsch, thank you so much for your time. And you are soon to be the very busiest man in the state of Delaware. So thank you for being our first person this week.